This is our at-home series. I'm Trinity with From Can to We Can, and today we have a special guest, Krista, and she's going to introduce herself. So go ahead, Krista.
Hi, everyone. My name is Krista. I have epilepsy, generalized epilepsy. I have tonic-clonic seizures, and I have had that for 9 years now. I was diagnosed at 11, and I'm now 20.
Wow. Okay, well, Krista has a blog, right?
Kind of a blog that I kind of haven't been doing as much because of college, but I do have an epilepsy account on Instagram that I've been blown up recently. So I'm working on that.
So you're a big advocate for epilepsy, and Krista, why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about how you found out that you were diagnosed with epilepsy?
Yeah. So it all kind of started back in March of 2011. We were at Disneyland, surprisingly, and just kind of just took us by surprise. We were going to do one last ride for the night, and my oldest sister was going to go on Space Mountain with my dad. And I'm like, you know what, I'm as big and as strong as my oldest sister. I'll go on that scary ride too. So after waiting that long line, we were about to get on, and I was just sit up front by myself and go to take one step and wake up hours later in the hospital. So my head kind of went vehicle cement, and I got a 4th grade concussion and just had my first grand mal seizure. And then when I woke up, it was kind of like we were on vacation, so we had our vacation short. But we won last ticket, so we went to California Adventure a week later, and we watched World of Color, which I wasn't diagnosed at the time, so I watched World of Color, and that was, of course, flashing lights, strobe lights, all the water movement and everything, which caused another seizure. I was in a wheelchair. So we got back home, got kind of examined, had EEG, and they're like, yeah, she has epilepsy. And with my epilepsy, I fell and got concussion because I had an atrial septal defect in my heart. And I wasn't getting enough oxygen to the brain, which caused me to actually fall. And when I fell, my 4th grade concussion, and we were pushing to get my heart checked, because every time after I would have the 5 seizures a day that last 45 minutes, they were kind of like focal seizures, I would feel kind of my left side of my body would feel dead. My parents were like, that sounds like a heart problem. So we were pushing and pushing, like, okay, something's wrong with the heart. And doctors are like, there's no way, like, that's a seizure. There's no way that's a heart problem. So we go in, they check her heart, and they're like, oh crap, yeah, she has like holes inside her heart. So I had surgery a few months later, and they said, yeah, if we would wait like a week or 2 later, she would have been gone. So by the grace of God, like, I'm still here today. And even though I still suffer from epilepsy because of my fall, it was just kind of something that had to be connected to show, like, hey, I had to show you this so you could see this. And it was just kind of connecting the dots, because we would have never found out of my heart problem if I had not fell and had epilepsy.
Wow. So there was like a silver lining to your epilepsy. Wow. I'm getting chills. I'm about to cry. That's like, I don't want to say it's amazing, but it is amazing how God works. Like, sometimes we see things and we think about, like, man, this is like really upsetting, but in a sense, epilepsy kind of saved your life.
Yeah, it's like a thorn in my side, kind of like how Paul had a thorn in his side. He's like, God, just please take this out. And God's like, you know what? I'm gonna keep it there as a reminder. And I feel like epilepsy is kind of my reminder. Like, I am small, and I do need to depend on Him. And I feel like this is just a thorn in my side that I have to keep.
Wow. How did your life change after you were diagnosed? Did you have to do different things? What was life like for you at that point?
It definitely did change quite a bit. With the 4th grade concussion, I basically did nothing for 6 months. being 11 years old, you kind of depend on everything to entertain you, kind of, because you're like very hyper, very active. I remember for 6 months, just everything just either bugged my eyes or my ears. So I just lay on my parents' floor, just resting as much as I could. And I would only get up to go to doctor's appointments.
Wow. And as I was reading one of your stories, why don't you explain the stuffed animal Stitch and who that is to you and what?
Right here.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this little stuffed animal, I actually woke up next to me in the hospital after my first seizure. Some hospitals where I take him with me and they're like, oh, does your little guy want a hospital visit too? So he has a matching one with me.
That's amazing. You still bring him with you to your surgeries and things like that?
Yeah, every time I have a seizure, my parents are always, okay, grab your wallet, grab Stitch, grab her a coat, let's go. He always has to be there.
It's a token, having something to go through it with you in a sense. So I think that's really important. So what would you say are the different struggles and the joys of having your disability?
I would say that the struggles are kind of general things. Like being 20, you can't drive, you can't go out and have the independency that 20-year-old would like to have. I see all of my friends like, hey, let's go party, let's go do all-nighters, let's go do this. And I'm like, I have my medication, I can't do that. And it's kind of, people always question you, especially at college. It's kind of like a weird thing kind of have to express. I think one of the biggest joys is that because I've chosen to not let it weigh me down and chosen to advocate for it, I've been able to help out so many people. It's kind of like, I'm not alone, but also you're not alone. Just kind of like a two-way street here.
That's awesome. A lot of people need that advice while they're going through things like this. And so I think it's really important that people hear the joys of it as well and how to kind of overcome what they're going through. Besides your blog or your epilepsy page, how do you advocate for epilepsy?
I do have some plans for when I go up in fall to my new college. I was going to do it at my previous colleges because my health went downhill. I couldn't. But I have plans to start an epilepsy awareness club just to kind of get people involved, to kind of like a coping type support group started. And one of my biggest goals that I don't know if this is going to happen or not, I'm kind of hoping, but just do something either like on March 26th, which is Purple Day, kind of Epilepsy Awareness Day, is to get kind of majority of the school to wear purple on that day, or to have a sports day in November, which is Epilepsy Awareness Month. You just kind of see if we can get one night of sports to just wear purple for that one night. Just kind of have like an awareness day. So it's kind of my big plans.
That's awesome. Thank you for really speaking out about what you go through because it's not easy for everybody. So thank you for doing that. How did you feel when you were transitioning from home to college? Were your parents nervous? Were you nervous? Or were you like, I got this?
Well, I was super excited because I'm like, I finally get my dependency that I've been waiting for because not being able to drive or anything. But to be honest, I was not ready. I look back now and an 18-year-old me was like so not ready, even though I thought I was. There were a lot of problems that I had in college that I was not prepared for. I was actually badly bullied in college my freshman year. That led to a lot of problems, and it's all because of my disability. So, but like they can do whatever they want, all discrimination, but it's not gonna kick me down from getting my psychology degree.
Awesome.
So keep pushing forward.
Wow, what a story. You are so inspirational. I see that you are Christian, and I would like to know, how does your faith help you through your disability?
I think it actually has helped me like quite a bit through it, because like you go through all of these like rough emotions when you are struggling, and you have like, especially with all medication, I've gone through a lot of like self-doubt, suicidal
depression and just all of this kind of why me. But then being Christian, you know that like, okay, like God is in control, and and since he is perfect, he doesn't leave you, he doesn't forsake you, and he has a plan for you. And you know that when you live on this world, it is temporary, and there is a purpose for why you're going through this. And it's not like, okay, there's never, like, it's not like there is never a cure. Like, there is a cure, and that was paid by Christ's
blood by dying on the cross. And I always cling to, which is Romans 8:18, which is, I know that the sufferings that I'm facing now is not compared to the glory which is to come. So it's like all that I'm suffering now is only temporary. And when I'm in heaven, which is going to be perfect and glorified, like, it's just, it's wonderful. So.
Wow. That was amazing. That was so moving. Thank you so much, Krista. What advice do you have for the world?
I think advice that I have for the world is that whatever you are going through right now, rather it is like small or big, don't look at it as like compare yourself to other people's, like, oh, I'm going through like a breakup compared to, oh, someone's like has a bigger problem. Like, whatever disability or problem you're going through, it is big because it is yours. And I would say, do not let fear control you, because fear is one of the biggest things that can take over. Like, for me, I really stick to, I may have epilepsy, but epilepsy doesn't have me, because that's something that they really like to control you. And that's something that's like where you find your identity. But
try to find your identity in something else that's not like, oh, I'm the person that has epilepsy, I'm the person that is that. Like, try to find your identity like in Christ, or like, oh, like, I'm that beach girl, I'm that, like, just try to find positivity in everything, because there is light and there is like something at the end of the tunnel. So
wow, you are so inspirational. I love this conversation. So we wanted to gift you a $50 Visa gift card. Our thank you to you just for being amazing. And, you know, we are just so proud of you and your story and everything that you've overcome. We couldn't be more grateful to have you on the show and for sharing your story and for being an awesome supporter. And we thank our viewers for tuning in today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was From We Can to We Can, and this was our At Home series.